Judge a person not by their answers, but by their questions. Time truly passes quickly, doesn't it? It feels like just yesterday you were playing tag with your friends in elementary school, or wondering in university whether you'd find a good job before all the good opportunities were taken. Yet now, those childhood memories feel as vivid as yesterday. And instead of worrying about finding a good job, you're calculating how many years are left until retirement. Perhaps most of the time, we get swept away by the pace of life, and we struggle to find time to pause and reflect on the fundamental questions. We often find ourselves on autopilot, drifting away from making conscious decisions. But if we stopped to think and asked ourselves the right questions, would we uncover answers that could profoundly impact our lives? Don't underestimate the power of a good question. A good question forces us to think and confront our inner world. When we ask a question, we begin to examine our thoughts, beliefs, values, and identity. Through this process, we may discover new things about ourselves, and these discoveries shape who we are and who we want to become. The questions we ask to understand ourselves can help us see our thoughts and actions more clearly. Yes, it's true, facing certain questions can be difficult because we fear we won't get the answers we want. But as Carl Sagan is often credited with saying, we make our world significant by the courage of our questions and the depth of our answers. Socrates, too, said, an unexamined life is not worth living. Turning our backs on life's toughest questions is a sure path to mediocrity. So, let's step away from the ordinary and focus on some critical questions. Where am I headed? You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. If we don't know where we want to go, life's winds will carry us to places we don't want to be. That's why it's crucial to clearly define the goals we want to achieve in every area of life. For example, if you're a software engineer, you should support your dream of working at Google with concrete steps. What technologies do you need to master? Which projects will propel you forward? What training would be beneficial? List these and approach them with a plan. This will be key to achieving your goals. Progress only happens when we know where we're going and why. If you keep doing what you're doing now, what will the result be? Is that the result you want? If yes, great, keep going. But if not, it's time for a change. Like a mountaineer aiming for the summit, having a clear goal makes the challenges and fatigue we face strengthen us. As the famous motivational speaker Tony Robbins says, actions without results are a waste of energy, result-oriented actions are a source of power. This emphasizes how powerful and effective our actions can be when they serve a purpose. In this context, setting goals and making plans to achieve them leads us not only to personal success but also to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. As Nietzsche said, he who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Those without a purpose will complain about every how they encounter. We can always make new beginnings, but before we start, we must ask ourselves, where is my finish line? Once we know that, it's far more likely we'll keep going and not give up halfway. Are my reactions truly under my control? Most of the time, we face situations we can't control, yet the one thing we can control is our reaction. This isn't just a philosophical idea, it's a practical way to deal with the stress and disappointments of daily life. Getting angry or upset about things beyond our control is a waste of energy. Instead, we should focus on how we respond. For example, when stuck in traffic, instead of getting frustrated, you could use the time to listen to a podcast or review your plans. This approach, focusing on what we can control, helps us become happier and more productive. The power events have over us is only as much as we give them. So, is it the events themselves that create anger or disappointment, or is it our reactions to those events? In the video 7 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do, we discussed how differences in perspective shape our reactions to events. This awareness seems simple, but we often forget it. And in a way, we become prisoners of our reactions. In every situation you face, ask yourself, do I have control over this situation, or can I only control my reaction? Consciously managing our reactions not only preserves our inner peace, but also enables us to live a more successful and fulfilling life. Remember, whether something is harmful or beneficial depends on the reaction we choose. Who am I spending my time with? Research shows that the people around us deeply influence our thoughts, behaviors, and even our success. The saying, tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are, holds weight. As Jim Rohn put it, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about your friends and colleagues. Do they inspire you, or do they drag you down? When you spend time with people who tolerate bad habits or unhappy lifestyles, it's inevitable that you'll start to resemble them over time. The same applies to what you read and watch. People pay attention to what they eat for a healthy life, but they often neglect what they allow into their minds and lives. Your life starts to resemble your environment and what you're exposed to. So, choose your surroundings wisely and ask yourself, who am I spending my time with? and what am I exposing myself to? Which dream am I not pursuing? How many of us have pushed our dreams aside, saying, "I'll do it tomorrow"? If you're quietly or openly saying yes to this question, you're not alone. Statistics are harsh. 92% of people abandon their dreams. Let's do some math. The average lifespan is about 72 to 73 years, which is roughly 26,298 to 26,663 days. That's nearly 63 years spent ignoring our dreams. Doesn't that seem like too much? When the curtains close for the last time, those dreams fade quickly. And for the 92% who gave up, it's too late. Personally, I don't want that kind of ending. I want to leave this life smiling, knowing I lived my dreams and spent meaningful time with loved ones. Here's a wake-up call. Every time we say tomorrow, our dreams fade a little more. All we have is now. We're here to live life fully, so why waste this gift? Take hold of your dreams today. They don't have to remain distant fairy tales. They can become your reality, but only if you take action now. What are my fears or worries? What are my fears or worries? And what important things am I missing out on by not facing them? To put it another way, does worrying give you more options? It's important to identify our fears and confront them. Only when we're certain of our fears can we overcome certain obstacles. Fear isn't just an emotion, it's a force that shapes how we perceive ourselves in the world. Aristotle said courage is neither having too much fear nor none at all, but fearing the right thing, to the right degree, at the right time, and in the right way. This highlights the importance of addressing our fears meaningfully and building a healthy relationship with them. To overcome our fears, we need to analyze them logically. It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our perspective on them. This shift in perspective makes us braver and more conscious individuals, allowing us to unlock our true potential and handle life's challenges more effectively. As Franklin D. Roosevelt said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." What matters most to me? If you don't know what matters most to you, how can you prioritize it in your life or take the right steps toward it? For example, if family is your top priority, start focusing on your successes related to your family, not others' achievements. Stop comparing yourself to others. Or perhaps money is what matters most to you. If that's the case, accept it. Don't lie to yourself. Know what you value and embrace it. This awareness makes it easier to reject things that don't matter to you and avoid meaningless competitions. You'll also realize that most people aren't as successful as you think. By clarifying your priorities and choosing what's right, you open the door to a more fulfilling and peaceful life. When you clearly understand yourself and your values, you take control of your life. Is this really important? Wise people always remember they are mortal. This awareness guides them to ask an important question. When life is so short, is what I'm spending so much time on really important? Often, the answer is, unfortunately, no. Before wasting time on trivial details, ask yourself, if my life ended right now, would this matter? Living with this perspective shapes what we do, say, and think. So, is what you're stressing over really important? Stephen Colbert, while sharing his experiences with great tragedies, recounted his mother's words, "Momentary disappointments fade in the light of eternity." She would say, even in tough times, this moment is nothing compared to eternity. If you stop giving too much meaning to current struggles, you open yourself up to future moments. Stepping back from daily worries and stresses to consider this broader perspective helps you identify which moments in your life truly matter. This not only brings you a more peaceful life, but also makes your daily choices more conscious. Is this the person I want to be? Our minds are skilled at separating what we do from who we are, but this is often misleading. Someone who constantly does bad things cannot be a good person. If you always choose the easy way out, you can't call yourself hardworking. Saying you love someone isn't enough, it's showing it that matters. You become what you do. So, when you're doing something, ask yourself, does this reflect the person I want to be? Do I see myself this way? How we do things defines who we are. Ask this question for every action, thought, and word, because they reveal your true identity in a way no appearance or belief can. For example, taking time to help a friend shows you're generous and thoughtful. On the other hand, abandoning friends in tough times might indicate you're not as good a friend as you think. These small decisions shape who you are over time, either making you the person you aspire to be or pulling you away from that vision. So, align your daily steps with the person you want to become. By carefully examining and, if necessary, changing your behavior, you can become the person you truly want to be. In this journey, being honest with yourself is your greatest guide.